What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to an episode of Team B Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Bullet B. This is the WrestleMania post-show and review. Talk about one of the worst main events in WrestleMania history. Man, that had to be the worst one. I mean, I don't like Roman Reigns at all. I mean, I was going to give him a second chance. I thought the promos leading up to Mania were okay. You know, him and Triple H fighting in the back and all that stuff. I said, I'll give him another chance, you know. Then I see the match, the main event match. They decided to put this match on last, which I was okay with. You know, it sounds cool in theory. And then they start the match. I'm like, okay, this had to be the most boring match I ever seen. It had nothing to do with the crowd. I mean, if nothing, the crowd was keeping me into it with the boos and all that stuff. But if the crowd didn't boo Roman Reigns, I think the crowd would just be silent. Just be silent. Because what's to care about with Roman Reigns? There's nothing to care about. The dude can't talk. He can't wrestle. He can't do anything. He's very robotic. He's a charisma vacuum. And I guess he's just a pretty face. You know, because I'm not going to blame the fans this time for it. It's Roman Reigns, because I just could not get in this match. You know, it wasn't the fans. I couldn't get into Triple H. I just couldn't get into it. And, you know, the crowd started doing all these kind of like random chants in the match and all that. I couldn't really tell because my stream was kind of fucked up because WWE Network works pretty good, but for some reason, every time we have a pay-per-view, it wants to be very pixelated and the sound's kind of muffled, you know? So it was kind of hard to hear. Now, the intro. Yeah, the intro, the Triple H's intro, Stephanie McMahon wearing Triple H and Shao Kahn's mask. That was awesome. That was cool. And the way Stephanie cut like a little short introduction promo for Triple H, that was awesome. It's like, why would you even boo Triple H after seeing that? That was cool. I really enjoyed that. The entrance, Triple H always has a really good entrance, minus the Terminator. But this year it was pretty damn awesome. That was cool to see. And then here comes bland and boring Roman Reigns. And I was in a great mood. I was enjoying WrestleMania. I was going to be nice enough to give it a B-. But after seeing that piece of shit main event, man, that was so boring. I ain't never been so bored watching a WrestleMania main event. People say, well, The Miz and John Cena was boring. Shit, this was way worse than Cena versus The Miz. At least The Miz has got some fucking chemistry. At least people, you know, want to boo the guy as far as, you know, characters go and things like that. But it's not that the fans were turning on Roman Reigns. You had people out there clapping, and then by the end of it, they weren't clapping no more. There's nothing to clap for. I mean, there's nothing to cheer about. You know, oh, wow, he cocks his hand. Big deal. You know, I don't get it. You know, that was just a sad reminder on why I just don't like Roman Reigns. You know, he just can't do a match. He can't do a match. He can't talk. He can barely walk. You know, he makes Diesel look like a top guy back in 90. Okay, you just say 1995 was a low point in WWF. Okay. Roman Reigns is not even on Diesel level, you know. Now, before you guys, you know, get offended or whatever and want to boo me like I'm Roman Reigns, this is just an opinion show. But take it for somebody that's watched wrestling, you know, for almost 30 years. This match sucked big time. But WrestleMania overall, it had some really good moments. You know, some okay matches and a lot of pretty good moments, I would say. And let me see. Well, Kalisto, we start off with Kalisto versus the Ryback. And strangely, Kalisto won this match. I thought they were pushing Ryback to go over in this match. So it's like, I get Kalisto's the next Rey Mysterio. You want to push him and all that stuff, but I think you can get away with Kalisto losing a match or two here and there. Ryback, not so much. You know, you can't drop the ball with him anymore. So I don't know what they're going to do with him. And we're going to do a joint show tonight, but based on time differences, we couldn't get it together because my friend Raven Spector, he's still watching the show because the WWE Network was screwing up for him, and he couldn't watch it till midnight. So he's still watching it as we speak. And Bill, he watched it live, so he already did his post show. And I told him to go ahead and do a post show earlier because I didn't think I was going to be. I knew I wasn't going to watch it till later. I didn't watch it till like 9:30, about 9:30 or so. I watched it on demand, and but I wanted to go ahead and just give my own thoughts. You know, I know Bill's got very different opinions than me with certain guys. You know, like Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose stuff. I just don't particularly care for the talent, them guys, and I just wanted to post my own opinion about it. But yeah, so Kalisto walks away retaining the United States Championship. And then we had a bunch of divas versus Team Bland and Blonde versus Team Total Divas. And as I predicted, Team Total Divas won this match. And I must say, Summer Rae looked pretty good in this match. I didn't even recognize her at first. I was watching this on the USA Network. I did catch the pre-show. But, yeah, whatever they did with Summer Rae, the outfit, the way they had her hair, not Summer Rae, but Lana, excuse me. I get the blondes mixed up sometimes. You know, they all kind of bland and blonde, you know. But, yeah, Lana, she looked good. That outfit, that hair, that complimented her. You know, she finally wore something that complimented her besides the business suit. So, that really complimented her, and that was nice. But as predicted, Brie Bella won with the yes lock, and Nikki Bella, still recovering from major neck surgery, came out after the match to celebrate, with her sister and the winning team. Most of the match was spent with the women hitting their finishing maneuvers on each other over and over. Eva Marie, she was smoking. Now, she gets the Roman Reigns heat too. She was pretty much booed out the building because people don't like the push she's receiving. But why? You got to give somebody a push. Just because it's staged and they can see it's a push, they want to boo her. See, I disagree with that because I think she's a better worker than Roman Reigns. I'll go on record to say that, because she's been training. She's doing better. Roman Reigns, I don't see no hope for him. Not even as a heel. I don't even care to see Roman Reigns as a heel no more because watching that main event put me in a bad mood. I didn't like it. If I was Vince, I would just fucking fire Roman Reigns. Sure, he's got long hair and he's pretty, but that's it. You can find a pretty boy somewhere else. There's nothing to him. A fucking charisma vacuum. I don't like him. No wonder The Rock didn't come out there and celebrate with Roman Reigns. I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to be associated with him either. I wouldn't even want to call him my cousin after that. Fucking embarrassment, man. Anyway, that sucked. I just hate to see a WrestleMania end on such a shitty note like that. I mean, it was so bad nobody cared about Triple H in the match towards the end of it. Oh man, I was waiting for the damn crowd to do a wave. They might have done a wave. Maybe I couldn't see it because WWE Network servers sucked so bad you couldn't tell what was going on in the stream. So this is pretty much part of the pre-match here or whatever. The Usos defeated the Dudley Boys. Usos won by pinfall. And after the match, the Dudley Boys blindsided the Usos, went and grabbed 2 tables from under the ring. However, the Usos recovered, knocked the Dudley Boys down with super kicks, put them on tables, and did stereo splashes off the top rope to put the Dudley Boys right through the table. And moving on, which I think people were booing the Usos when they put the Dudleys through the table. I don't blame them. I mean, because Dudley's nostalgia act, you know, you got a universal crowd, WrestleMania crowd. They're going to care about the legends. You know, you don't want to see the legends go through tables like that. You know, you just don't want to see that. It's like throwing Rocky through the table. You just don't want to see it. And then we had the Intercontinental ladder match. And this should have been Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens feud. But according to Vince, nobody watches NXT. So this turned into a ladder match. Because everybody wanted to see Kalisto versus Ryback on the pre-show, you know? Nobody really cared about that match. And so we don't get Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. We get an Intercontinental ladder match. And the outcome of this ladder match, by the way, is fucking awesome. Like I said, I like WrestleMania. I was going to give it a B- because it was a good pay-per-view, a good show and whatnot. Just not one of the better WrestleManias. Not one of the better ones. It just felt like another WrestleMania. Testing. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Said the call ended, and then I just joined the call. So, damn, I hope I didn't cut me off or anything. Ugh, that's what I get for talking shit about WWE's prized possession, Roman Reigns. Ooh. Bear with me here. Anyway, ladder match. Love the ending, man. Talk about a swerve. Oh, Aaron Riff got to shave his beard off. Zack Ryder won the IC title, and I was very happy about that. People can nitpick, complain, bitch all they want to. Zack Ryder deserves that. Sure, he's been there longer than some guys, but he never had anything. He's no better or worse than the new guys. He never had anything. He deserved that. Definitely deserved that. And I think they did that as a swerve, you know. It was starting to be the night of swerves, you know. Oh, the fans think this guy's going to win. We're going to swerve him. But, you know, that's Vince McMahon sitting in his leather chair, you know, saying, hey, you know, let's have that Zack Ryder go over and shock the woo-woo the fans. That's exactly what he did. He woo-woo the fans. That was cool to see. Might have been the best moment of the night, but we'll get to that. Very cool, man. Zack Ryder finally wins the IC title, man. How about that? Oh, here's another swerve match. Chris Jericho versus AJ Styles. Chris Jericho wins the match, basically. Jericho reversed a calf crusher and Styles kicked out of a code breaker. Jericho escaped one Styles clash and kicked out after Styles hit a second attempt. Jericho kicked out. Styles hit a springboard 450 moonsault. Jericho won after he turned Styles' phenomenal forearm attempt into a code breaker, basically. Yeah, he went for the forearm, and Jericho dropped him with the code breaker midair. Now, this was another swerve. Had to be, because everybody thought AJ was going to win because Jericho's project. No, Jericho wins. And I'm like, what the fuck was the point of that? Just to swerve us? It had to be. Makes no sense for Jericho to win this match. AJ Styles should have won all the way. Now they're going to have a rematch, and probably, and AJ Styles is going to be like, well, I almost had him. I just want one more chance. And we got to see another month build up until Extreme Rules so they can have another match. But still, WrestleMania is what everybody remembers, and I feel like AJ Styles should have won this match. No reason for Jericho to win this match. I think that was just a swerve us. So that was swerve number 2, but not a good swerve. Here comes swerve number 3, the New Day versus the League of Nations. Nobody gives a shit about the League of Nations. They're not as bad as Roman Reigns, because at least these guys know how to wrestle a little bit. And Sheamus was over a little bit as a babyface on SmackDown years ago. Mid-card, Razor Ramon level. So, the League of Urination defeated the New Day. Yeah, for real. But this might have happened for a reason other than a swerve, because after they won, they were bragging, blah, blah, blah. And then out came Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, Texas homeboys. Crowd went crazy for him. The three came to the ring and destroyed the League of Nations with all three men hitting their finishing maneuvers. New Day came in the ring and tried to get them to dance with him. Michaels and Foley started dancing, but Austin decided to give a Stone Cold Stunner to Xavier Woods. And the funny part was, Austin was playing along with Xavier there for a minute. He was trying to dance. He was dancing with him for a second, kind of mocking him. Then he stunned him. I was like, yes! I was hoping it was coming. So that was cool. That was very cool to see. And Michaels, Foley, and Austin all celebrated with beers, and all was good in WWE Universe. But yeah, still, New Day lost, So that was kind of a swerve, but it led into the Hall of Famers coming out. Excuse me, it's kind of late. And my voice is kind of scratchy. It gets like that when I get sleepy. But then we had the Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose match. I'm going to go through just kind of quickly. Now, this one I got right. Brock Lesnar won this match. As predicted, I knew this was going to happen. This was just an opponent for Brock Lesnar. To me, Dean Ambrose is like, he's on Razor Ramon's level. But Razor Ramon was very popular in WWF in the mid-90s. He just wasn't main event. He was like high mid-carder. And Dean Ambrose, he's about as over as Razor Ramon as far as the fans giving a shit. But they give a shit about him. But the whole point of Brock Lesnar beating the streak was so WWE would have a new special attraction match at WrestleMania every year. Therefore, it's too soon for Brock Lesnar to lose at WrestleMania. They're going to drag this out a few years. Brock Lesnar is kind of like the new Undertaker. He's going to be the big match every year. Who could beat Brock Lesnar match every year? At least I'm hoping so. I hope they would do that with him, beating the streak. Either way, too soon for Brock Lesnar to lose at WrestleMania, because just 2 years ago he beat the unbeatable Undertaker, and the streak would have meant nothing if Brock just loses 2 years later. Sure, he could put somebody over, but not yet. It's just too soon for that. My thing is, you give it to Dean Ambrose, you make Dean Ambrose the number one guy, the ratings are going to drop, you know, like they did with Daniel Bryan. Everybody loved Daniel Bryan, but when they put the title on him, the ratings started to drop. Go figure. Everybody loves the chase. And I think Dean Ambrose is kind of that cat. People just want to see him in the chase. Another Mick Foley, perhaps, someday. But either way, I said there ain't no way Brock's going to lose this match. They just gave him an opponent for Mania. That's exactly what happened. So Brock continues on. That way, next year at WrestleMania, he could be a special attraction. They say, oh, nobody's beat Brock Lesnar since he beat the Streak. They got a main event, special attraction there. There you go. Because without Brock being undefeated since the Streak, they don't have that special attraction. Because Undertaker is not going to wrestle that much longer unless he wants to be a legit dead man. And we'll get to that. But here we go. The Divas match. Triple threat. Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks. I almost wish I changed my opinion about this, but I'm glad I didn't. Because I predicted Charlotte would retain the title, and she did. Because I just don't see nothing with Becky and Sasha Banks yet. Now, they're going to get there. They're just not there yet. They haven't done a lot of pushing with Becky and Sasha lately for them to be the champ. I just think Charlotte's doing a really good job as a champion. She's definitely number one over them right now, especially as a heel. Charlotte comes out in Ric Flair's WrestleMania 24 robe. I thought that was genius. I like that. Good tribute. I like them little inside wrestling tributes and stuff like that. That was very cool to see. And before the match started, they had WWE Hall of Famer Lita out there to introduce the new WWE Women's Championship. The Divas title is no more. The rumors were true. We now have a Women's Championship, rather. And when I first saw it, I said, man, it looks just like the World Heavyweight Championship. Then I thought about it. I said, well, that's the beauty of it. It should look equal to the World Heavyweight Championship because it's the top belt for the women's division. You know, men and women, in my opinion, are equals. Okay, men, women are equals. So the women's championships will absolutely be as good as the World Heavyweight Championship for the man's title. The women's title should be just as relevant and look just as relevant as the men's title. So I thought about it for a second. I was like, I completely agree with that. It looks like a little World Heavyweight Championship for the women. It looks like it could be taken more seriously. Looks more like a big deal. So hopefully it'll make these title matches more of a big deal. And I think Charlotte keeping it makes sense right now. But when I saw Snoop Dogg, escort Sasha Banks to the ring, I said, oh, shit. I said, I was just thinking about that. I said, Sasha's going to win, and Snoop Dogg's going to raise her hand, and blah blah blah. But luckily for me, Charlotte won. Just opinions. I mean, as far as prediction side for me, making the predictions. But I wouldn't mind seeing Sasha win that match. Snoop Dogg raise her hand and all that. But Snoop, he got places to go. He ain't worried about WrestleMania. Other than smiling, saying he was there for the Hall of Fame introduction at the event and Hall of Fame night before. Because, they introduced all the Hall of Famers at WrestleMania. And they did that little segment there. Then they had the Divas match right after. So, perfect time for Snoop. Goes out there and smiles, waves. Helps Sasha get to the ring. Does some lip syncing, lip rapping, whatever. And he's out the door. Got some weed to smoke. Okay. Moving on. So here comes one of the big main events. Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker. The match that should have went on last, man. And I'm a big believer in the title belt going on last. Trust me. I love the title belt going on last. I did tonight until I actually saw it. But, I'm surprised it didn't close the show. They must have something big planned for Triple H and Reigns. Yeah. No interference in none of these matches except for Hugh Hefner in the Divas Triple Threat, aka Ric Flair, and the main event had a little bit of interference. Just Stephanie. Whoop-de-doo. So Shane, Undertaker. It's hard for me to buy into this match, the believability of it. It's just hard for me to buy into it, because Shane, he's a businessman. He's not a fighter. He's not a wrestler. But then again, Undertaker's old, but Shane's old. It's hard for me to believe into it. There were some awesome spots in this match. Shane watched a few, of course. The world rolled their eyes as they saw Shane put the Undertaker in the worst sharpshooter known to man. But other than that, Taker threw Shane McMahon right through the cell, and they had a couple of table spots there, back and forth. My problem with the match is it was kind of slow paced. I'm like, get up, Undertaker, and pin him. Pin him. It's like he was beating up a businessman. No matter what Shane did, Undertaker kept getting up. I'm like, fucking pin him already. But it's bullshit, I had to really suspend my disbelief for this match. But this match was awesome. It's just, there was parts in it, just nitpicking here, that were really slow. I'm like, man, why don't you just reach over and fucking cover him? The Undertaker put Shane McMahon in the last ride, okay? Finish one of his finishers. And Shane McMahon kicked out. That's why I get pissed. People kicking out a finisher so much. To where a small businessman like Shane, which he ain't that small anymore, he's gotten big like his dad, he can kick out of the last ride. I'm like, bullshit. But other than that, it was good. Him kicking out, bullshit. Rest of the match, pretty good. I didn't think Shane was going to climb on top of the cell because the cell's been restructured. It's now 20 feet high. It used to be like, I think 15 feet high, but it's now 20 feet high, and jumping off the top of the son of a bitch is like suicide. So towards the end of the match, Shane climbed on top of the cell. Undertaker was laid out on the announce table. Shane jumped off the cell for this magical moment. Undertaker moved out of the way. Shane went right through the table. He had to bruise some ribs or something there. I don't care how padded that stuff was. That was a 20-foot drop. That's serious. I don't know if I would have done that, Only somebody crazy like Mick Foley would do it. But now the cell's even taller. If I was Shane, I wouldn't have done that shit. But anyway, Shane jumped off the cell, through the table, probably fractured a rib or broke a rib. It's amazing. That could have went so wrong, man. But all props to Shane for doing some crazy stuff like that. And so that was Shane's big spot. He jumped off the cell. And they showed the replay 50 times, and it kind of took me out of the moment there. They kept showing the replay. But it was cool, though. I like that. And basically, Undertaker dragged Shane back in the ring, and Shane did the hand gesture like, come on. Undertaker said, come on. And the crowd went, ooh, like that. And then the Undertaker patted Shane on the head and gave him a tombstone and pinned him. Just like that, because Shane was so beaten up from that drop. So as I predicted, Undertaker goes over in this match. I just didn't see Undertaker losing. And it's not just that. I just knew Shane was going to be there part-time because when they first started this feud, I said, okay, Cena's injured, Orton's injured, Rollins is injured. They need a big gimmick match for WrestleMania. That's exactly what this was a gimmick match. So they called up Shane because they had nobody else, which means that's temporary. It's just for the pay-per-view. That's why I thought for sure Undertaker was going to win. And that's why I predicted Undertaker to win this match, because there's no way Shane's coming back full-time or signing some extension. It was all bullshit. The only thing that got me was Shane McMahon promising the WWE Universe, like, hey, the product sucks so bad, I'm going to change it for you. Yay. And they were playing off a real-life storyline because the product does suck most weeks. And you got a man saying, hey, I know the company sucks. Hey, I'm going to turn it around. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like false advertisement. False advertising and bullshit. But I didn't fall for it. That's why I knew Undertaker was going to win this match. Because WWE's pulled this stunt before. It's bullshit. False advertisement. Because WrestleMania 29, John Cena versus The Rock twice in a lifetime. You remember they were teasing Cena to turn heel, but he never turned heel. He was cutting heel promos on The Rock, but he never turned heel. And then when they had the match, Cena was a true babyface all of a sudden. I said, that was bullshit. He was pretending to be a heel to get you invested in the match. Same thing with Shane McMahon cutting in promos. I promise I'm going to change it. The product sucks. We got to change it. All bullshit to get you to buy into the match. That's all it was. And Undertaker went over. I mean, I ain't got a problem with that. You know, I just think it's kind of bullshit, and you kind of let the fans down when you cut promos like that. I promise I'm going to turn things around. You give people all this hope, and then you just take it away. And WWE probably thinks that's funny, but I know how WWE is. I've been watching them for 30 years almost, so I know how they are. They will do these backstabbing promos and give your hopes up just to snatch it away. So when I first heard Shane was coming in part-time just for this match because they had nobody else, I said, Undertaker's going over. Shane's there part-time. No matter what they say, no matter what they do to build this up, you know, Undertaker is going over. He just needs an opponent. You know, and I didn't have a problem with Shane. I could see Shane winning that. Like I said, they built up so much hope and expectation for it. You would think Shane would win over, but you know, I stuck to my gun. I said, no. I said, Undertaker's going over, and he did. And I still couldn't hardly buy into it. The spots were awesome. The match was pretty damn good, actually, but I just can't buy into it because Undertaker's selling so much, and he's so beat up. He could barely pin Shane after the tombstone and shit. I mean, he did get knocked in the head with a toolbox, but still, I mean, Undertaker just taking forever and overselling from a businessman beating him up. You know, that's just a thought in the back of my head. You know, I try to buy into the match as hard as I can, but in the back of my mind, it's like he's a businessman's beating up the Undertaker. You know, that believability. Now, the spots, very awesome. So the match was almost believable, you know, because Shane did what he could. He was tough. He survived the last ride, you know, and he ducked and did things like that, shuck and dive, run and hide, all around the Undertaker. And Undertaker got winded and stuff like that. And he jumped off the cell, and Shane missed. And he dived right through the table. Awesome spot. Probably the highlight of the night. The night, actually. That was probably the best part of this whole WrestleMania. Shane diving off the cell. That was this year's WrestleMania. High spot. And after that, we had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. I was like, okay, Andre Memorial Battle Royal, the Dre is getting some attention here. I said, well, that's pretty cool. But the match felt like a joke. Okay, we had Shaquille O'Neal as a surprise entrant. Him and the Big Show squared off and tried to choke slam each other. But the other competitors swarmed them and dumped them both out. That was the thing. You know, you had Shaq in there and Big Show have like a 10-minute long stare down, and they pushed off the superstars outside the ring. And I'm like, Shaq can't wrestle. Shaquille O'Neal cannot wrestle at all. He don't know how to wrestle. He's not a professional. I'm like, what are they going to do? He can't take no bumps. So what they did, they had a big stare down, a couple of choke slams. Then everybody jumps in the ring and pushes out Shaquille O'Neal and the Big Show just to get him out the ring. So they had the photographer moment right there. That was just the photographer moment. And for ESPN to say, hey, Shaq, what were you doing on that bad wrestling show? That's all that was. No, what were you doing in that fake wrestling sport? That's all that was. However, you had some surprise entrants. You had one of my mentors, Diamond Dallas Page, with the Diamond Cutter and DDP Yoga t-shirt. That was cool to see. So you had DDP and you had Tatanka. Yeah. Yeah, Tatanka, man, from right here from my home state, right from Pembroke, North Carolina, Tatanka. I was never a big Tatanka fan. He's even from around here. From Pembroke to you outsiders, but people that know the area is Pembroke. So, but yeah, Tatanka, man, he's cousins with a guy I went to school with, supposedly, and I met Tatanka a couple of times once at a high school wrestling event when he's hurting for some money. But I was glad to see Tatanka back, and he was in there longer than you'd think he would. However, I was thinking, I said, well, I guess Bill's right. Mark Henry's going to win, which I figured as much too, leading up towards WrestleMania after we filmed the predictions, because there's no Wyatt families in there or nothing. However, Mark Henry did not win. The winner was Baron Corbin from NXT. So NXT guy won the Memorial Battle Royal, Baron Corbin, and I ain't got no problem with that. I just hope WWE knows what they're doing. But he seems like a good wrestler, and he's got a good look to him. So, that's what you should do. You should put over somebody new, and that's exactly what they did tonight. Ryback finally got his break, and Baron Corbin won the Dre Battle Royal, and that's awesome. So, good for him. I ain't got no problem with that, because they ain't had nobody else in there. It kind of reminded me of the gimmick Battle Royal from WrestleMania 17, which I love. It kind of reminded me of that, because you had Tatanka and DDP in there, and one other gimmick guy, I can't remember, but kind of lackluster Battle Royal. Got your Big Show and Kane in there, but overall, Baron Corbin won. Here we go to the worst match in WrestleMania history, in my opinion. WrestleMania 27 was better in this pay-per-view. I don't care what you guys say. Y'all motherfuckers can hate on 27 all you want to, just because I was there. But this main event fucking sucked. Okay. I already talked about this match, but basically, Stephanie McMahon, rather, she gave this awesome intro for Triple H, the King of Kings, the cerebral assassin, the game, Triple H, wearing the Shao Kahn mask, Triple H coming to the ring with a bunch of skull faces, people with skull face masks. That was cool to see. I like Triple H. He's my kind of guy. If I was a bad person, I wish I was the rich, evil businessman with the hot wife and the sexy legs. Stephanie was hot tonight. I love Stephanie when she's got curly hair, but Stephanie's hot. I prefer Asian women, but when it comes to white women, she's nice. She looked good tonight. I don't care what anybody says. People are just jealous because they ain't got the money and the power like Mr. Triple H. But I look at him as like, hey, you're a winner, dude. You start off as a fucking jobber in WCW. Now you fucking Vince McMahon's daughter and got kids with her, married into the family. You running the company. You just COO. Good for you. And very lackluster match. Couldn't even get into it. Not even for Triple H. And somehow Roman Reigns pulled off the upset. Triple H was going to hit him with a sledgehammer, and Roman Reigns speared him right through it and pinned him, and the crowd booed the shit out of it. It's amazing they ended it like that. But not even because of the fan. I'm not going to blame the fans here, because like I said, you take away the boos and have an honest reaction, it's going to be dead silence. Because the dude, he ain't got no charisma. He's very robotic. He can't talk. He can't wrestle. What's to like about him? There's nothing to like about him. He might be a pretty boy to the girls, but I ain't no girl, so I don't see nothing about him. The only thing I liked was the promos leading up to Mania, so I'll give him a second chance. Time the match started, nothing. He's got like 2 moves. He makes Cena look good, of all things. And speaking of Cena, let's get to one of my favorite parts of the night. The Rock came out there to cut a promo. I said, it's going to be WrestleMania's 27 repeat. We'll go out there and cut a promo. Actually, it was better than that. The Rock comes to the ring, announced the attendance record. 101,000 broke the attendance for WrestleMania pay-per-view. And I'm skeptical of that. It didn't seem like 100,000. The atmosphere was different, like from WrestleMania 3. Like WrestleMania 3, even though it wasn't really 93,000, it felt like 93,000 from the atmosphere. This WrestleMania supposedly had 101,000, but I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't the right number. It didn't have the same atmosphere, but then again, it's a different building, so different stadium, AT&T Stadium. AT&T represent. That's my internet. Woo woo. Got to represent that. So The Rock comes down with the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. This might have been the best part because, Kid Rock fucking sucks. Puff Daddy fucking sucks at WrestleMania. They all suck. This year, they did it right. And Machine Gun Kelly fucking dropped dead for all I care. But this year they did it right. None of that bullshit. They had the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders out there versus some amazing dancing, and I could see that. They should have done that the whole show. Kind of reminded me of the Nitro Girls. Have them out there dancing randomly. That was cool. I like the Dallas Cowgirls because I love women and I love looking at women. So no piss breaks for me. My eyes are glued. Whew, some nice stuff. I'm a single man, so I enjoy the stuff. And if I weren't single, I would still look. Because you can look, but you cannot order. And nobody wants me. But anyway, so Dallas Cowgirls dancing. Rock comes to the ring. Explains the attendance record. And you think he's going to leave the ring. I knew we were going to end that short. He gets interrupted by the Wyatt family, which was surprising. I was glad to see the Wyatt family there, and Bray Wyatt came out there, and The Rock had a little back and forth on the microphone. It was pretty funny. Rock pretty much said, Bray Wyatt, you talk like you've been smoking out of a bong for the past 5 days. I thought that was hilarious because he does, man. I like Bray Wyatt, but I'm just not into scripture and all that bullshit. So it don't make too much sense to me sometimes. It does, because I used to think like that and read stuff like that, but you're in a fucking wrestling ring. And so, yeah. But he does cut good promos, and The Rock was putting him over like, hey, you got this, you got that. And, but don't ever knock on my door because you're not going to like who answers. That's what The Rock told Bray. And Bray said, well, I ain't going to knock on your door. I'm going to kick it down. And The Rock, surprisingly, took off his shirt and his pants, and he had his tights on. He said, I want a match with you tonight. And he had a match with Eric Rowan. And I said, man, I want to see Rock versus Bray. But I was surprised The Rock was going to have a match. But Eric Rowan jumped in there and said, I'll take on The Rock, of course. Can't have Bray versus The Rock because Rock can't do too much right now. Because of the movies and insurance. Movies and stuff like that. His agents, I won't be too happy. So anyway, the bell rings. Rock pins Eric Rowan in 6 seconds. I'm like, man, I know that's not going to be the end of the segment, or it's going to go down kind of corny. But that was cool to see The Rock get in his tights and have a match for 6 seconds. So technically, The Rock had a match for 6 seconds. And the rest of the Wyatt family jumps into the ring, and I was thinking, oh, here comes Cena. Boom, boom, boom. Here comes Cena. Cena ran to the ring, and which I ain't got a problem with that. And The Rock and Cena teamed up and beat the shit out of the Wyatt family. And The Rock and Cena embraced. And commentator said, oh, this is just the two biggest rivals of past WrestleManias are together. Never before, never again. Part 2. And they embraced and they beat off the Wyatt family, and they left the ring. I thought this was a really good segment. I really liked it. People could say, well, we're tired of it, whatever, but I'm not hating on this. I liked it, because it was kind of it was predictable but unpredictable. I didn't know The Rock was going to pull off his pants and be like, hey, I'm ready for a match. Ding, ding, ding. I didn't think I was like, oh, shit, what's going to happen? You going to fight Bray? Oh, no, he's going to fight Eric Rowan. So he pins Eric Rowan like nothing happened. Rest of the Wyatt family runs in to beat down The Rock. Here comes Cena. Cena and The Rock beat up the Wyatt family. They did 5-knuckle shuckle, people's elbow, rock bottoms left and right. Basically one of them segments where it's not a wrestling match. It's just two heroes beating off the villains, sending them out the ring. But like I said, I enjoyed it. I thought this was cool. And I think JBL said, "Welcome back, Cena." And very good. Rock looked great. Great shape, man. He got his stomach down. Looks phenomenal. Cena looks pretty good too. You know, I don't know if he's lost weight or what, but he always looks smaller compared to The Rock. You know, you're talking about a mega star and a B-plus player. But overall, they look fine. And if Cena's lost some muscle mass, he'll get it right back. I mean, the dude's been going through, fucking therapy and stuff to get back into to where he can wrestle again. So I ain't going to knock him for that. But very good segment. And this happened before the main event, I believe. Either before the main event or right before the Memorial Battle Royal. One or the other. Anyway, so you had Shane. You had Undertaker beat Shane. You had the Battle Royal. Baron Corbin won the Rumble. He didn't ruin it, but he won the Rumble. And then you had the worst main event in WrestleMania history, at least in recent memory. I mean, it was worse than The Rock versus Cena twice in a lifetime, part 2. It was worse than that because it's not that the fans shitted on the match because they did. It's just the match sucked. There was no chemistry there, no electricity. There's no electricity about Roman Reigns. I don't even think he'd be a good heel because he'll say stuff like, yeah, I'm not going to win the title. I'm going to take it. I mean, he just says shit like that. There's no energy to him, no chemistry. He's not charismatic at all. And I know he ain't supposed to be charismatic because not everybody's like The Rock. But he's not. I would rather see Dean Ambrose in the main event of WrestleMania than fucking Roman Reigns. I don't even see the star power anymore. I don't see it anymore at all. And anyway, my internet's fucking up. So I'm going to get off here while I can. So WrestleMania, if it weren't for the main event, I would give it a B minus. Like I said, it wasn't a special WrestleMania like X7 or 28. It wasn't special. It was just another WrestleMania. Yeah. But not just your typical WrestleMania. I think last year's was better. 30 was better. This is on par with 27. Maybe a little bit better or worse than 27. It depends. Because 32, the ladder match was great. Divas match was pretty good in my opinion. But like I said, it was just full of moments. Shane jumping off the cell, big moment. That might have been the Steeler. That was the biggest moment of the night. I mean, Steeler as far as the past few WrestleManias is concerned. Then you have the Rock and Cena segment. That was fucking awesome. But that was just another moment. Shaquille O'Neal, another moment. Just had a lot of good moments in it for sure. Good moments for the highlight reel. But the matches were pretty good. They were okay. Nothing special, but not bad. But the main event, fucking terrible. So dropped a lot of points. So I'm giving it a C minus. I hate to do that because I was enjoying the show till the main event. It should put me in a bad mood. That match sucked. If I was there live, I've been pissed off. I would have wanted my money back after seeing that shit. But no, after seeing The Rock, nah. And the Wyatt family and all that stuff. HBK, Mick Foley, Austin earlier in the show for their little thing. That was cool to see. But yeah, good WrestleMania. Pretty good until the main event. I think Shane Taker should have closed the show, even though Taker won, but Taker's a baby face, just like Shane. So I say that should have went on last, but, because Triple H was losing anyway. The only good spot in the main event match, which kind of surprised me, was Stephanie and the ref and Triple H were kind of like negotiating. They were trying to get Stephanie out the ring. And here comes Roman Reigns like he couldn't see Stephanie with a big spear. Triple H moved out of the way and he speared Stephanie right into the mat. The crowd went, ooh. I went, ooh, because I didn't think they had male-on-female contact anymore in WWE. I thought they stopped male-on-female contact. So I was very surprised to see that actually. Roman Reigns spear Stephanie. So that was probably the best part of the match as far as shock value goes. The only thing interesting about it. But other than that, it was, the intro, Triple H intro, 10 out of 10. And that was the only good part about it. Stephanie's legs and Stephanie getting speared. Good part because it was shocking. And the end of the match fucking sucked. Flat as can be. Not happy with it. Not happy with that, the main event. I've never seen a WrestleMania suck that bad. Go back 10 years ago, WrestleMania 22. You had something very similar in a young John Cena that people were booing, fighting Triple H for the world title. And people booed the shit out of John Cena. But I still enjoyed that match. And Triple H won. And John Cena won that match, actually. And people didn't care or whatever, but it wasn't nothing like this. This was fucking terrible. So fuck Roman Reigns. I'm not a fan of him anymore because that match, right, he just can't deliver, man. The only reason his match with Brock was good last year is because he was taking the beating the whole match to cover up the fact that he ain't got no good offense. Roman Reigns can take a beating, yes, but his offense sucks. He's got less moves than Hogan, for crying out loud. So there you go. There's your WrestleMania. C-. Definitely worth watching for sure. But just prepare to be bored to death in the main event. I could tell people turned it off during the main event because my stream got better, which means there weren't so many people, wearing down on the streamer there. But main event sucked. Rest of the card, good. Hell in a Cell match, great. If you could suspend your disbelief. Either way, that spot off the cell was fucking cool. You don't see that anymore in WWE. But look forward to more WWE post shows. WWE Raw weekend review. Look forward to that. Because I think Monday Night Raw is going to be better than WrestleMania itself. Who knows? And I have something special happening. The Raw after Mania is always good, and hopefully everybody will enjoy it. And subscribe to me if you want to. And hear me bitch about wrestling every week. Nah, if it's good, I give it credit. A lot of times I give it credit. It's just that main event rubbed me the wrong way. But other than that, I enjoyed the show, like I said. It's just not a special WrestleMania. When they look back, they're going to show Shane jumping off the cell. Shaquille O'Neal in the ring for 2 minutes. They're going to show that. And Austin stunning the New Day. They're going to show that. And the Rock and Cena segment. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. But it's just not. It's not one of the better WrestleManias. But it's one of them. If it weren't for Shane, I'd say it's a very forgettable WrestleMania. But other than that, that's my bullshit for this post show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And this was a massive post show because it's just me. But like I said, time differences. I had to watch it on demand. Our man Ravenous, he's watching it right now, watching the replay. And Bill, he did his show earlier, which is cool. But I told him to just in case I weren't able to do a show. But I wanted to post my own thoughts. So go to his channel if you want his thoughts. If you want my thoughts, you're already at the right place. All right. Thank you. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Mwah.